Hello chess friends and welcome to the Art of Chess channel and welcome to the round 5 of the FIDE Grand Swiss tournament in 2019 in the Isle of Man. So what to say, Magnus Carlsen is back. He played now today a very nice game. I don't think that he was satisfied with his play in the first four rounds. He was really dancing on the ropes in many games, but today he played really stockfish look like perfection, and I think it's something worth to see because he really crushed the Najdorf that his opponent played. His opponent was Surya Ganguly. He's a strong grandmaster from India, but here in the game Carlsen showed really nice attacking skills and didn't allow his opponent even to breathe or to castle or to do anything. He basically went straight forward and had a fully deserved win here. So Magnus Carlsen had to win this game today because he has to catch up. Many players are even a whole point in front of him, so he had to win this game in order to keep his chances in the tournament, and today he did that. But we'll see what will happen in the continuation of the game. Caruana is playing very well. Luke McShane is playing very well today. Both of them faced each other, so we'll see what will happen in that game. But here Carlsen played really an attacking brilliance. So let's see the game. E4 by Carlsen. We have a C5 by Ganguly, and now knight on f3 we have d6. This d6 move is always sort of a flexible move. You can transpose into the Dragon Sicilian. You can also transpose into maybe French style of playing the Sicilian with e6. You can also play the Najdorf, and here after d4 we have c takes d4, knight takes on d4, and now knight on f6, knight on c3, and here Ganguly played the move a6, which is now the Najdorf defense, and the Najdorf defense is really one of the most tactical Sicilians that I know, so it's really always fun to watch, at least in this top grandmaster level, what ideas they will find to break his opponent. So the ideas of the Najdorf is always to play this e5 move, and it's similar to the Lasker Sicilian or the Pelican Sicilian. After the move e5 and the move knight on b3, you're leaving a little bit this weakness on d5, but you can create this very nice outpost here with the move b5 and create a flank attack. In the game, Magnus played h3, which is a common move in the Najdorf. You can also play f3. It comes with the same idea, but here if e5 comes after knight on b3, here bishop on e6 and bishop on e3, if black plays immediately the move d5, I've seen it many times now. I don't think that's such a good line for black. It seems that black can go into some simplifications, but here after e takes d5, knight takes on d5 and bishop on d5, you have c4. So you see the bishop has to retreat after queen takes on d8, queenside castling. It seems very dangerous, so you see white has developed very fast here. We can also advance the c5 pawn. We have also a dangerous bishop. We can play f4, so many choices here for white. After the move h3, we have now the move e5, and okay, knight on b3 played by Carlsen, and these are now black's problems, these long-term problems. And whenever I used to play the Najdorf, my whole idea was basically based on this d5 move. I always wanted to improve the position of this pawn, because this pawn on d6 is a backward pawn and it's a weak pawn, and this d5 square is always a long-term weakness. So that's why I gave up on the Najdorf. I wasn't familiar with all of these tactical possibilities for both sides, so it was always such an annoying game for me to play. So I basically didn't like it, and then I transposed into this hyper accelerated rank Sicilian that I used to play now. I simply think that this is really something that you have to worry about in the whole game. You see also Ganguly will have to his troubles in this particular game. After the move knight on b3, we have now bishop on e7, and now g4. Carlsen goes really aggressive into the game with the move g4 going straight forward, and here h6 has to be played, and now bishop on e3. If you try to counterattack with the move b5 after bishop on e3, it's really dangerous because you can play the move a4 simply channeling now this space advantage that black has created. So you see this b5 move in this particular line, it's not such a strong idea. After b4 we have knight on d5, and after knight on e4 you see you cannot take this pawn. Then you have bishop on b6, it's very powerful, and after queen on d7, bishop on g2, very nice, and you lose the piece. You have to basically give up the knight. If you don't do that, if you retreat with the knight, of course, on f6, then knight takes on f6, bishop takes, and the rook is hanging. So you see, b5 is not possible, although black would love to play this move b5 because of this space advantage that black is always trying to create in this Najdorf defense. And here, that's why knight from b to d7 was played, and now Magnus goes a4. Also a brave idea, I think, because playing on both flanks, I've seen Kasparov once he mentioned that in one particular game against Anatoly Karpov, he mentioned that he saw these attacks on both flanks, and he really crushed Anatoly Karpov when he did this attack on the both flanks. So it's really risky because you're leaving many spaces in the center. So that's why black, if black plays here this continuation correctly, I think can go really for a central pawn breakthrough and create really damage, because these advanced pawns, although they are aggressive, but they are also creating many weaknesses in the position. Here Ganguly played the move b6, and this was his, I think, first inaccuracy in the game. Here he should play maybe the queen on c7 to go into this common line of the Najdorf, which is the common move, this queen on c7, and then try maybe a knight on c5 outpost, because you have a good coordination with this bishop and the queen on c5, so you don't have to much further weaken your queen side with the move b6. It's perfectly fine here. So as said, in the game b6, this is now a flexible pawn structure, but it's also that sometimes something that you have to always worry about. This b6 is a little bit overloaded by this knight and the queen, and these two pieces have to always protect this b6 pawn. So okay, it's still common theory. Of course it's not immediately losing, but in long terms this could be a weakness. So f3 by Carlsen, very flexible move here, because after potential, I don't know, bishop on e2, bishop d3, bishop c4, or even bishop on g2, Magnus has then the opportunity, if he of course removes the queen from the first rank on the second rank, to castle on the queen side or even on the king side. So it leaves him really nice flexibility. On the other hand, black doesn't have such a good flexibility, because you see we have now if black castles immediately, then it leads to h4 g5 immediately attack. So you see black is a little bit stuck. Pardon me, let's go back here. Black is a little bit stuck with the king in the center here, with because white has really made a fast progress here. After b6, well, as I mentioned, we have f3, and now queen on c7. We have h4 by Carlsen, also very aggressive. Here knight on f8 was played, and now rook on g1. If you play g5 immediately, it's not so much to worry here for black. After h takes g5, of course you cannot recapture with the h pawn, you have to take with the bishop, and now knight on e6 would be the after bishop on f6, bishop takes, and now knight on d5. Queen on c6 can be played, but now after knight on f6, I think black has a comfortable game here. It's not a problem. So you see we have the possibility to create a very powerful knight outpost on f4. This knight will be very hardly challenged here on the square f4, although white has this supported pass pawn, but it's hard to continue to push this pawn, and the d5 idea of black still remains. After the move knight on c5, black would have then to have the possibility to create this pawn breakthrough in the center, maybe then play something like bishop on b7, or even castle on the queen side. So here after knight on f8, as said, rook on g1 played by Carlsen, getting out of this h file, so preparing this g5 move even more. So here bishop on e6, and now g5. We have h takes g5, h takes g5, and now knight on d7, and here knight on h5. It seems that it's a good move, but here knight on d5 would be very, very powerful. After bishop takes on d5, queen takes on d5, and here rook on b8. Of course, you have to get out of this attack. Then queenside castling is very, very strong, and we have now possibilities to play something like bishop on c4, g6 even is possible with some rook sacrifices here. The a6 pawn is weak. You have to advance the b5 pawn. We can simply go passing through with a4, and then play something like bishop on b6. So this bishops, this queen, this rooks will be then in perfect attacking harmony. So knight on h5, very, very risky, you see. After knight on d7, still Magnus played on this knight on d5 idea. We have queen on c6. Black is trying to stay with the bishop pair on the board, and now queen on d2 was played. Knight on g6, a5. Also very, very nice positional move here by Carlsen. See, Carlsen is not allowing here Ganguly to breathe. A5, simply blocking the whole queen side. Of course, b5 has to be played. If you take, you can take, of course, but you can recapture with the knight, or even with the rook. Seems very, very strong, because then this a6 pawn would be our main target after potential knight on b4 and similar ideas. This would be a long-term weakness. So see, this advanced pawns by black, they seem to be really weak, and here after a5, b5 was played, and Magnus simply played queenside castling. Okay, what to do now from black's perspective? If you castle on the king side, this is very risky, because you open the h file. We have the possibility, you see, to play queen on h7. It would be very hard for black to defend here. So that's why rook on c8, and you see now in this move, Ganguly basically showed Carlsen that he's not going to castle at all. So he cannot castle on the king side. He played now with the rook, so he'll stay with the king in the center. King on b1, very nice move, getting out of this potential c-file mess, so that it's also a very nice positional move by Carlsen. And here knight on c5 was bishop on e2. You can take immediately knight on c5. Carlsen played a different move order. After d takes c5, now c4 would be very, very nice after the potential b4 move. Now simply b3, bishop on d8 could be the continuation, but simply queen on a2, and we have solved our problems. You see, we can really play now very active with bishop on e2, and maybe something like rook on h1, because you see, black has the back rank problems. He hasn't this rook connection, which Magnus Carlsen can make, of course, with the move bishop on e2. So this rook connection in this game will be also very important. Black, I think, stayed too long in the center. Carlsen played a different line with bishop on e2, but with the same idea. Knight takes on b3 is again another problem, although we have double pawns, because we have simply c takes b3, and here after bishop on d5 we can simply take e takes d5, and still we have to go somewhere with the queen. But now you see, again, our idea would be maybe something like rook on h1, and even f4 is possible, because you can really try to open the center when the king is in this, stuck in the center. But the best and the calmest move, I think, is here to simply go bishop on d3, attacking the knight, and then if we trade off maybe this bishop for the knight, then black will continue the game with the weak g6 pawn. So in the game, after this one, bishop on d8 was played, and here knight takes on c5 finally, d takes c5, and now f4. Very, very powerful move by Carlsen, simply trying to open the position. Now the king is in the center too long, and that's why e takes f4, bishop takes on f4. If you take knight takes on f4, then knight takes on f4 with an attack against the bishop. So here rook on h4 can be played, but now g6. g6 is the main tactical idea here for Carlsen. It really opens the position around the black's king. It weakens much further this healthy pawn structure, and still with the possibilities to play something like rook on h1 and going back here with the rook. So after bishop on f4, here bishop on e7 was played, knight takes on e7 and king on e7. The king seems now to be safe here, but of course Carlsen finds first this check, bishop on d6, very nice, and now king on e8, and now queen on c3, creating an attack against this g7 pawn. So that's why rook on h7. And see now these black pieces are too loose. I think they are not connected like Carlsen's. You see there is a good connection between the rooks, there is a good connection between the rook and the bishop. The queen has a perfect diagonal. It's still an open position, so of course the bishop pair loves the open game. So that's why white is really bad here. So bishop on g3, simply improving the position of the rook, still with the possibility to play something like rook on d6. b4 was played, and now queen on d3. Now the idea is simply to maybe even trade off the queens and then go much more actively into the game with our rook and attacking this a6 pawn. If we manage to take this a6 pawn, it could be really dangerous for black, because then we would have this pass pawn here, and with the support of these two bishops, black would be completely lost here. So that's why c4, we have queen on d6. You see queen takes on e4 was played by Ganguly, and now Magnus played a very nice move, rook on d4. This is really tricky stuff. If you take the bishop, it's basically game over, because rook on e1 can be played after queen on f3. You have to go somewhere with the queen. We have queen on d7. Magnus has prepared here some great tactics. You see, it's a forced checkmate in 2. If you, of course, you cannot take with the bishop, because the rook is attacking the king. So that's why you would be forced to play with the king here on f8, and here rook on c8. If you take, then we have a very nice checkmate with the queen sacrifice on d8. So great tactics here by Magnus. Rook on d4, very nice, and here queen on b7 was played, and now Magnus played a very interesting idea again, queen on b6. Again, if you take the queen on b6, then a takes b6, and how are you gonna prevent this pawn for promotion? So you see, we can simply go straight forward. This bishop is covering this b8 square, so this is completely winning for white. After queen on b6, queen on a8 was played. Now rook on d1. You see how white's pieces are now playing in perfect harmony. This queen is really out of game, and here rook on h1 was played. The Ganguly searches here for simplifications, but Magnus is not allowing that. Played a very nice move, queen on e1, bishop on e1, getting out of this potential trades of the rooks. Here knight on e5 was played, and now bishop on b4. Now we have finally accomplished what we wanted. This bishop comes into the game very actively. Now there are threats, something like bishop on d6, and even bishop queen on e7 checkmate. The bishop and the queen, we create then a powerful battery here. Rook on d1 was played, rook on d1, not a problem, but now Ganguly is trying to trade off the queens, but not a problem. We have queen on e3, playing on the most active square now. The square is very nice, because we have also some dangerous discovered attack possibility against black's king, and the black is still stuck in the center, because you cannot escape here to the square f8 and then maybe to g8. It would be sort of a defensive idea for black, but it's not possible in this position because of this perfect diagonal that the dark square bishop has here. So queen on b5, we have bishop on c3, not a problem. Rook on c5, but these are really not such good moves. Basically black doesn't have any better, so that's why here b4 played by Carlsen, very nice. You cannot of course take c takes b3 on the en passant, because then your queen is hanging. Knight on d3 was played, and here Magnus simply took c takes d3. We have rook on d5, but now d takes c4, and in this position Ganguly resigned. Okay, you have maybe the check, but now we can simply go to bishop on d1 and similar ideas. So again, it would be a completely winning position with one piece up, and in this position that's why Ganguly resigned. Okay, great game by Carlsen. It was really a great attack against this Najdorf, with this double flank attack on the a file, on the h file, on the g file. Risky stuff, but Magnus is feeling very well. I think now in this 2019, when it comes to this dynamic games, he's playing very nice. He's not playing this positional games anymore like he did maybe 5-4 years ago. He's playing now very active chess, and that's why we love him, and that's why we love really his games here. So okay, I hope you enjoyed this game. Meanwhile, you can watch my other commented chess games with some more games from this very nice tournament, and you can also watch my best chess games of all time if you want to see the best chess games that have been ever played in chess history. And you can also subscribe to my channel if you like this content. Thanks you for watching, guys, and chess is the best, of course.